Okay, only 2 minutes late. Just two. Y'all, it's good to be back. Friday night, as they would say. And I just gotta say, well, to addition of that is Gears of War. Man, I remember when Gears of War first came out. I know a lot of people say I know a lot of people think of like Halo when someone talks about Xbox, and obviously rightfully so because Halo is literally the mascot of Xbox, or maybe I don't know about nowadays, but there was another contender, and that was Gears of War. And Gears of War, dude, Gears of War, dude. I mean, I'd rather play that than Halo, to be honest. Just give me a moment, y'all. It's been more than 20 years, but no, wait, no. When did Gears come out? 2006? No, okay, so 19 years ago. 19 years ago. So 20th anniversary will be next year. Dude, either way, I remember watching the good old G4 TV back when it was actually good, and how they were doing their little review of it. Me and my dad went to go check it out. Hold on. I mean, I don't think I'm putting things in order, but I do remember it being on G4 TV. Me and my dad were watching it, and seeing the chainsaw lancer for the first time, dude. Wow. I when I first played that game, it was cool. I loved everything about it. But like when the nighttime came, not many games really got me to the point where I'm feeling like claustrophobic. But when the nighttime came and the first Gears of War, dude, you got the krill coming along. Oh my gosh, dude, I almost had a heart attack. And then when you made it to that abandoned facility, that was even worse because of the freaking wretches. There's one thing I would say about Gears of War 1. Heck, I love Gears of War 2, and I believe Gears of War 2 is probably the best Gears of War game. But what Gears of 1 had and what the other Gears of War lack is that horror element. Because there were just scenes in the first Gears where, again, when you're in that abandoned facility and you see all these corpses around, you see the blood smeared and splattered everywhere, and it shows it just gives you like this supernatural almost like take of like what happened, and like you see the lambent wretches just eating at the people and stuff. Dude, so I figured I go ahead and we just watch a little bit of, well, I don't know if we watch a little bit, but just watch this little documentary of Gears of War 1, how it came to be and everything. Because I mean, dude, this Gears of War is a legend. It really is. When you think about it. I might get hit with the music, but it's okay. Closer look. Yeah, look at that.
Alternate sci-fi world where it's a blend between high tech and low tech, and it's a story
How's the
of
volume,
a
guys?
man's redemption from military traitor to human savior. Or the one line, it's a third-person action horror shooter.
Game where we really pushed cover and make the player actually interact with the environment rather than, dance around the enemy.
Gears of War is about fluid in and out of cover, being able to cover anywhere. The weapons are easy to use. It's very sort of intuitive, and we're finding that with press people and new people coming onto the project that they're able to pick it up and play pretty quickly. And so people are having fun because it's so easy to play. It's ruined me for a couple of games that have come out because they're just so difficult to navigate and play. So I find it's just its simplicity is what makes it different for me. I think Gears is just a culmination of just amazing craftspeople, artists, level designers.
This is what we need back. We need to return to these type of roots where the games have. Oh wow! Hold on. I don't know if y'all can see that in the background right there. That's the prototype version of Marcus Phoenix right there, which was voiced by Steve Blum. And if you don't know who Steve Blum is, he basically was Sub-Zero and he voiced Sub-Zero in MK11. Of course, Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop. And I want to say, I'm forgetting something else. He's been in a lot of stuff, but yeah, that right there, that's the original. Dude, they need to bring back. I hope that's like a costume, well, like an alternate appearance for Marcus Phoenix as a skin that you can like. I'm very surprised they didn't add that for 3, because if y'all played Gears of War 3 back in its heyday, you know that the main thing that kept Gears of War 3 going was one of the main things that kept Gears of War going was the different alternate skins that you can use. And I'm surprised they never did that for 3 for Marcus Phoenix.
Programmers all coming together in just the coolest way ever to create this visual kind of extravaganza that people see.
Gears is a good opportunity for Epic to branch out and kind of tackle the stereotypes that the company has from our past products and what we've put on shelves before. People think they know what we can do when they really don't. We're evolving ourselves and recreating ourselves on every project, every day.
It's crazy to think that they made that multiplayer within 2 weeks before launch. I think that's the story. I think they made that multiplayer because they had obviously they still have still a little bit left in the budget, and they're like, "Oh, let's just make a multiplayer aspect of it." And you see now it's going strong. So I wonder how Gears of War E-Days multiplayer is gonna be like. I wonder, especially when that's a prequel. And honestly, I always said this, and I will continue to say it to this day. I liked 4, but that's where things started going jumbled. I'll be honest. Judgment, yeah, even though Judgment was kind of a step in, it went to that hero shooter type stuff, and I hated that. But I did appreciate, being Baird and Cole's story. And of course, that makes sense because, in the main line of Gears of War, it's mainly with Marcus Phoenix and Dominic Santiago. Now, yeah, of course, I understand that Baird and Cole are in there as well, but it's when you look at that perspective, it's really about those two. But with Gears of War Judgment, I really like how it was the past, and then once you beat the campaign, you get the extra of okay, what were Baird and Cole doing during the events of Gears of War 3, which was really cool. That could have been a paid DLC, but that was actually in the game. So I will give Gears of War Judgment its props, and I'm glad I actually owned a physical copy of that. To be honest, the only one I don't own a physical copy of is Gears of War 1 and Gears Tactics and Gears 5. I wish I would never, ever beat Gears 5. That was atrocious. I couldn't. I just once I got to where you get the pad when you reconnect with Paddock and everything, and I was just like, it's cool. I like the open world, the semi-open world stuff, but that storyline, I could tell it was just I'd never done that before. I'd never done that with a Gears of War game until 5. Never.
Gears kind of started off originally as like a very large-scale vehicular-based product, and then eventually, when we were able to look at the visuals we were able to do with Unreal Engine 3, we kind of wanted to bring it back down to a much more intimate kind of setting.
I know what he's doing nowadays.
You actually have a chance to get into close proximity with your foes and kind of, do a curb stop on them, or chainsaw them, or shotgun their head off, and kind of see all of this in its bloody glory, and actually get to the point where you have.
Dude, I was like, how old was I when this came out? How old was I? I was 8. I had to be 8 years old when this came out.
And have this kind of intimate violence that we were going for.
Very early on, we had a lot of cool ideas, and it was a lot of work to kind of pick out the cool ones and focus on those and get.
Which they put back in the Gears of War 2, although it wasn't to the degree of that where you're punching each other, but you did have the chainsaw fight. Look at the early prototype stages like this. Wow.
So it was far enough along that everybody was sold on it. And at that point, we latched on to a few features and really kept pushing those and iterating on those. And, art would come along and make it look awesome. And then everybody's excited about it.
We started branching away from the hardcore tactical angle when we started realizing that to a lot of people what tactical means and boils down to is you're shooting tiny little pixels of dudes who are exposed, 500 meters away. And we have these incredible art assets and characters that we want to
those camera angles. Those camera angles are so
and
cool.
You want to get personal and involved with these creatures. So what we end up doing is we took what we considered
Gears of War Remaster. It was more cinematic, but not. I don't think it was overdone. I think they really did try to capture the essence of the first. But when you play the first and then you play the remaster, there's a night and day difference. And of course, what I can think of so far right now, which was the big negative for Gears of War. It's not a remaster; it's something else. But the first Gears of War remaster, it was the lighting. The lighting wasn't. It just wasn't dark enough in some places, and that's what really worked the magic of the original Gears. Like the lighting I think it just overexposed way too many things instead of just, I don't know.
The good elements of tactical gameplay, self-preservation and flanking, and we kind of super deformed that and we crammed it into a tighter environment where you're playing a tactical game just on a much smaller scale.
This is like on par with
the flanking is there, the maneuvering is there, the self-preservation is there, but you're not shooting pixels in the distance and trying to nitpick at people.
We don't really push, a lot of long-range combat, especially, we were reluctant to even put a scope on the sniper rifle because we wanted to keep all the combat really close, especially to see the high detail that went into our characters and also help them, distinguish better from the environments and whatnot, and have the player focused on the combat at hand and not distracted or trying to pick out a tiny little silhouette in the distance.
Well, I think the things that separate Gears, first and foremost, of course, the visuals. The game just looks better than a lot of other games out there. I think the art department did an extraordinary job of making it familiar yet unique in that area.
It's good.
The cinematic look of Gears is something that we really focused on early on, even in our kind of early concept art. We decided on a very specific progression of the visuals. You have these anchors, and you feel the progression in the lighting, and you feel the progression in the mood of the piece, and then you layer post-processing on top of that.
The other thing I think that separates it, especially from other shooters, is the fact that it feels more like a gunfight. The fact that these characters dive into cover like they mean it, like their lives depend on it. The fact that they're not like doing this kind of circle strafing dance around each other and jumping and battle.
Right, and that's what Gears of War 5 feels like. That's what the fifth Gears of War. Well, not really fifth, but that's what they don't call it Gears of War. They call it Gears 5. Yeah, might as well. Somehow the Locusts returned, even though they all died in 3. I hated that. I'll be honest, I hated that. And 4, I was like, why are the Locusts back? We literally killed all of them in 3. We got the emotion. He's like, you might as well bring back the emotion then. I just but that's the problem with what was with Gears 5. I know maybe I'm being biased here, and that's okay, because Gears 5 is just Gears 5 would just kill the franchise had they not reinvented themselves to do Gears of War E-Day, which they should have done. Honestly, they should have done that. 4 should have never been made. I like 4 to a degree, but 4 should have never been made. We should have went back to, like, E-Day. They basically were doing that with Judgment. They were going back into the past. Okay, all right, so we got this going. There's so many things. There's like so many characters they can actually just work on during that during E-Day and years after E-Day and stuff like that. They could have done. Hell, I would like to play like a Dizzy campaign, dude. That would have been cool. Hell, or a Ty. I mean, that's a fan favorite right there. There's so many fan favorites, dude. They could have expanded, explored that universe instead of like, oh, well, we're done with Gears. We're done with the whole big fight. The Locusts are dead, so let's fight against robots and whatever. No, dude, I'm cool. It was just
battlefield. I mean, there's really no jumping in war, right? So you want to keep your head down, not up. So I think that, coupled with the fact that we've done a really, really good job of handling the third person over the shoulder camera, so we almost have the best of both worlds of third and first person shooters.
A lot of people, when they're watching cameras in war movies, are always shaky, and they want to get that in the game, but there's never really been a good opportunity to get that, because
honestly, Halo was more of a Call of Duty competitor than Gears, to be honest. It was more. I don't know. I don't know most of Gears games, but it seems like it was a situation where they were trying to try something different, and they realized they messed up. Yeah, no, I agree. I think. I'm gonna think this out. I think they were split about things like where to take it. I mean, that's nothing new. That happened with DMC 4. Like, that happened after DMC 3, I should say, where they're like, okay, we don't want to just play as Dante because we've been playing as Dante since the first game, but we need someone new, someone fresh, and that's what they decided with Nero being DMC 4 and all that. So I understand. I mean, again, I just don't think that I admire that they actually did try to create like this new trilogy, or try at least attempted, because everything went down the gutter with Gears 5. Everything went down the gutter with Gears 5. I don't care about Dell. I'll be honest. I can't. Kate. Yeah, Dell, Kate. Not my co-host Kate, but the actual character named Kate. Oh gosh, Kate was. They could have done her right. They could have done her so right, but no, they messed that up. And that was interesting how she's actually like the granddaughter of Queen Mira. That was interesting. That was cool. But that it just went full on stupid. What else? The only one I really liked, honestly, the only character, like new gen character I liked from Gears of War 4 and 5, other than the Carmines, was JD. And I hated how they try to emasculate JD in Gears 5 just because he messed up. I'm like, dude, it's freaking war. What do you expect, dude? I hated it. I think I kind of liked a little bit of I can't remember, was it Faz? That's crazy how I remember these guys' name. It's crazy how I remember. I think the guy name is Faz or whatever. He has like this freaking, he's like a dude. See, I'm about to was about to curse right there, but he's like a D-bag, or seemingly a D-bag with the shades on and everything. At first, I didn't like him, but then he actually started to kind of grow on me a little bit. I'm like, okay, well, but that's, again, that I never beat Gears 5, so that could have all went out the window especially after seeing like the choice he had to make between JD and Dell, and it's like, what? We're only in the second game of the new trilogy. We're only in the second game of the new trilogy, and you're already trying to kill off the main actual cast instead of letting us grow with them. It's like, dang, at least let it breathe. At least try to kill one of them off in the third game. That would make more sense. But no, you gotta choose. And then and I hated that too. I hated that you had to choose who to die, who has to die. What? Are you out of your freaking mind? Who wants that? Who wants to do that? And it wasn't even a good setup or premise for it. But honestly, and I watched the ending of it. I didn't play it. I watched the ending of it, and I just said, I'm done. Completely done. I have no interest in it. But I'm super, super glad the Gears of War E-Day is we're actually getting that. It could be a train wreck. Don't get me wrong, it could be a train wreck. But so far, from what we've seen and what they've shown, this looks competent. This looks like they actually learned from their mistakes. We got a real young Marcus Phoenix and Dominic Santiago, literally the beginning of E-Day. Woo, dude. And I've been hearing rumors that we're going to be getting like a Gears remastered bundle, but of course, I might skip out on that because Xbox decided to raise the prices for no freaking reason, other than greed. And everyone's, there might be some people who might try to defend it, like, oh, well, Drhino, well, they gotta do this and that. Like, dude, shut up. Shut up. Are you gonna stop being a consumer? No, you're not, because you're trying to defend this. Again, I'm not trying to pay, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are not trying to pay $80 freaking dollars or $90 plus tax for that stuff, dude. When you can literally, when literally the Lara Croft remaster trilogy was like what, $30-$40 when it came out. I'm just saying. And who knows if they're gonna keep the multiplayer in there. They could do it just like Call of Duty, where we'll remaster the game, but you're not getting the multiplayer, other than Modern Warfare 1 remaster, and then yeah. Anyway. I'm not saying Gears was more of a competitor than Halo, but it was well praised, even more than Call of Duty at times. I don't know. I gotta go back nearly 20 years ago. But I'm pretty sure you're not wrong. I think the best comparison is maybe Killzone Gears. Maybe that's the closest. And I'll be honest, Killzone was never in my radar. It was never in my radar. So that's just me. I'm excited for the new Gears game, especially with it coming to PC, and I hope it gets a remaster for the original, since it will have to be on PC, and I already said PC games are way cheaper. Again, we'll see. I just gave you the Tomb Raider game trilogy. That was $12.99. Yeah, that was that thing. Yep. Plus more games on top. Yeah. All right, let's get back into it.
You're naturally giving up some of your responsiveness and some of the control of the characters anytime you do that. So by trying to take every opportunity where you can, where you're already sacrificing some control of the character, you might as well throw the awesome camera shake in, etc., so that it's not impacting the gameplay in the character, but they're getting the feel of this war movie. And I think that's one of the reasons that Roadie Run just seems so freaking cool.
I think in the end we came around that it's something that looks absolutely gorgeous, and not only the cinematics, but the gameplay. And the difference between the cinematics and the gameplay is not very much.
Like
We've had people on the development side, on the Microsoft side, who have had concerns that people aren't going to be able to tell the difference between the gameplay and the cinematics because there's no visual cue. I mean, it's other than pulling the camera back to a more cinematic angle, it's the quality of the visuals is the same, and both of them are highly cinematic.
I think Gears is the epitome of next gen right now because we have badass artists and some really awesome tech. I think those two things alone is what makes a lot of people interested in this game. And then with the gameplay, hopefully it will be compelling enough for them to stick around. So, I think we're really pushing the hardware to its limits on all fronts.
It's always been about the monsters for me. I mean, I love the monsters, monster creation, all that stuff. So the art obviously is my favorite part. Seeing that all come together and stuff, and then the monsters secondly. And
I wonder where most of these guys are at, other than the voice actors. I wonder where most of these guys are at, because I'm pretty sure, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if some of them retired, or if most, but we need people. We need these guys like back. Not, I mean, it would be nice, but we need people like them, like how they were back in the day. We really need that Attitude Era again.
You know, the combat and stuff like that. I just love to be able to go in and shoot monsters. I mean, that's great.
Yeah. Initially, the game kind of started off, whereas the cog, the humans would use, a lot of technology and maybe a couple creatures like dogs or something, and then the locusts would use primarily creatures and maybe some vehicles. And upon really looking at that, we found that the technology, first and foremost, shows off monsters really, really well. Second off, if we're going to go contrast, we might as well go all the way and make sure the cog just use these robots and the locusts use creatures. And so it's more polarizing as far as, organic versus technological. So getting to this point where we had these kind of, mole men from the underground, what would they use? What would be their tanks? What would be their troop transports? All of this. And we just kept going back to big monsters, and big monsters. And ultimately, that's what we wound up with.
Yeah, you have these human soldiers against these monsters, that are of average, normal kind of, maybe 6'5", whatever. They're other soldiers. There are other guys. They're the other team. And that's really cool. It creates a normal combat situation. And then you throw a one-up from that, and it's just like you have a berserker who's 8 foot tall and blind and runs around and tries to crush you. It's like, okay, that's pretty cool too. I mean, that's a nice monster. I mean, you go one step beyond that. You
remember that mission?
Brumok, which is 2 stories tall with cannons strapped to its arm, and a guy driving it around. It's like, oh my god, that's even cooler. And then you have this big monster, and then you got the corpse room. Just like the monsters in Gears are one of the coolest. Like just kind of in there, they feel completely integrated. It's not like they're plugged on top and what the hell are these guys doing there. There's as much a part of the experience as anything else.
Yeah, that was right.
And they feed into the sci-fi nature of it. They feed into the kind of the cool thing that makes Gears just that much more of a unique experience.
One of the cool opportunities you have when you're not dealing with a real world, but you're trying to get, kind of this cool tactical vibe to it that people.
And I wouldn't say for the longest time, but I thought it was set on Earth. But then when you read the comics, and yes, there are comics. If people don't know that, you read the comics, and of course you read the lore and everything. It's actually a planet named Sarah. So I mean, it's like okay, it's Earth-like, but it is a different planet and all. So that's how you got the emotion and all. When I think of the truth. When I think the truth of Gears games being legendary, I think it was mainly the fact that it was a third-person experience played with more than one person online. It was epic to experience. Yeah. I mean, again, you also had the very compelling storyline too. You don't get a lot of those back then. Usually, they were only single-player experiences with AI teammates, but this wasn't. Or it didn't have to be. Right.
Want is that you can suddenly mix it up by throwing in, boom, this creature that busts through the wall. That's suddenly your tactical hiding behind cover isn't going to do it for you because this creature just charges right through the walls. It's just not going to work. It allows us to add a little more variety by throwing out the rule book on the enemies you're fighting. You're not just fighting guys in World War II helmets that are just over and over again. You've got individual type guys that you can go and they can climb on the ceilings or they can do cool things. It really opens up the situations that you can put the player in, and it's going to make overall for a much more intense feel to the story.
Yeah, the Boomer is a great example of something that at first there was a lot of complaints when we first tried it. You know, we wanted something a little bit different. You know, this basically a humanoid tank that came at you and was pretty much indestructible. And at first it was just, you know, programmer art to get him in there and somewhat functioning. And everybody absolutely hated him because he could blow you up with one hit. He wasn't balanced. You couldn't tell him apart from any of the other enemies. But yeah, once we got some cool art in there and everybody, you know, we have this gigantic lumbering tank thing coming at you and blowing the crap out of you. It was awesome. So everybody loves him now. I'm guessing I must be way too desensitized because the gore doesn't really seem over the top to me yet. You know, the headshots look awesome, the chainsaw and all that. It's definitely visceral.
Yeah, it's real gory.
Just adds that little extra bit of polish when you get the drop on somebody, you know, it makes it enjoyable for the dude getting chainsawed and the dude doing the chainsawing. So both get to see this nice explosion of blood and
chunks. Oh, I hated that.
Curb Stomp. Yeah, Curb Stomp is a cliffism.
I think we're the first game to actually feature what is known as a Curb Stomp.
You have no idea how much I loved it when they actually got the chance to chainsaw fight people. Because in Gears 1, whoever got the chainsaw first, usually who got the chainsaw first out, that person gets chainsawed. So I was really happy they included the chainsaw fight in Gears 2. Oh my gosh.
In which you can take your opponent's heads and crush them on the pavement with your boot. And I'd pay $50, $60 for that. Or $70.
That's awesome.
Now that the effects and the characters can really support these up-close cameras where you see the chainsaw and the blood hitting the screen, it just makes it so much cooler and more impactful on the player to be filling the screen with that kind of detail. It's awesome.
One of the things that seems to be really resonating, which I find is really interesting, is that the violence of chainsawing and the violence of curb stomping and the amount of blood and the amount of jibbing or giving whatever is something that people are latching onto, and they find it exciting that we're not candy coating stuff and we're not colors and
all that
soft. You know, it's like there's a dirtiness to the world, there's a grittiness to the characters, there's a grittiness to the art, and there's a grittiness to the gameplay. This notion of, well, I can go up and put my foot on the back of somebody's head and smash it in the ground to finish them. Like, there's just this rawness to it that people are really like latching onto, and that's what I think is so exciting about, you know, why it feels so unique, is that nobody's sort of owned up to, we're just going to be dirty and raw, you know.
Yeah. Single multiplayer. All right.
Where are we going? Embry Square. Colonel Hoffman's waiting for us. Hoffman. Oh, shit. This is going to be awesome.
When you're building what is to be a compelling single-player experience of the story arc of where these guys are going and what they're experiencing and what they're going through, the biggest concern was pacing as far.
Oh, no. I think that the game Bulletstorm was a bit inspired by Gears, definitely, since both games share the main character, voice actor, and both have similar tendencies in their voice lines. Yeah, you mean John DiMaggio? I heard of Bulletstorm. Oh. Wait, never mind. Okay. But it sounds similar, huh? I heard of Bulletstorm, but I never played it.
As the player getting a good lump of combat and then taking that lump of combat and switching it up with putting Krill in the scenario and then introducing a new enemy such as the Wretches and kind of allowing the player to enjoy the...
Gosh, they bring back the Krill in E-Day. And I know the Krill are usually means General Rom's in the area. He's the one who masters them, but it was so cool seeing them come back in Rom's shadow. And that's like literally the last time as Gears of War goes, that's like literally the last time the Krill have been seen. And that was back in like 2011, 2012. So it's been over a decade since we last seen the Krill. Dude, the
core combat loop of cover gameplay, and then taking it away from him and having him drive a vehicle, or going to a section where he's exploring and finding cog tags and whatnot. Just keep changing the pacing as the storyline kind of builds and builds and builds to its epic climax. So you want to have good pacing so that that hook is in the player's mouth and you're constantly reeling them along and making sure it feels like this kind of, roller coaster ride start to finish, so that they do finish the game, because ultimately we do want people to finish the single player campaign.
Well, multiplayer was a surprise for everyone.
Bulletstorm's main voice actor, Steve Blum, doing his Dempsey voice was That's right. Black Ops. Steve Blum in Black Ops is Dempsey. Thank you for reminding me. Dude, I'm being honest with you. If you ever check this game out, you'll see it makes sense, because Steve Blum was originally going to be the voice of Marcus Phoenix. But that changed up and became John DiMaggio's role. But honestly, I wouldn't mind Steve Blum version of Marcus Phoenix. I think it fits. I still think it fits, to be honest. That's why I was like, they really need to capitalize on that. Like, bring back the prototype skin of Marcus Phoenix, and have like some voice lines by Steve Blum. They should do that, man. They really should, instead of focusing on these stupid celebrity. Well, we're gonna put Dave Bautista in Gears 5. Oh, we're gonna put the lady who played as Sarah Connor in Terminator in Gears 5. Stuff like that. Don't think it was a bad call either way. Both seem, no, it's not. It wasn't. It wasn't a bad call at all. Steve Blum and John DiMaggio both seem like they would. Hello. Oh, sorry, y'all. Nothing crazy came up, but just got a message from one of the beta readers. Okay. He's about to go. I know he's about to go start breaking down things. So, anyway, I'm not trying to be too silent. Steve Blum and John DiMaggio both seem like they would work the best together in the set. Yes, they would. Honestly, I don't know why they never capitalized on that. That would have been cool.
I mean, we were actually arguing about not bringing multiplayer to E3 because at the time it was seen by the team who was too close to it. It felt too simplistic.
But at the same time, we found that multiplayer in the Gears universe with the whole cover dynamic is a lot of fun, a lot more fun than I think a lot of people were expecting. And so once we got that up and running and people kind of found how much fun it was to play, we started pushing it more and more.
We had a lot of bad maps originally when we were just trying to find what exactly makes multiplayer fun. And when we finally started hitting on kind of an open feel with rows of cars in a street where you can see the enemies and you can make sure if this guy's going to flank me, I can see that guy flanking me. He's not just going to magically appear next to me. And the moment we started opening this stuff up, it became a game. It was just night and day over the early just random buildings that we had been.
And that's always been Gears of War strengths too. Planning that stuff out, using the actual tactics of flanking and the cover system. And I think that was basically lost in maybe Gears 4. Maybe Gears 4. If not Gears 4, definitely Gears 5.
Mimicking more from first-person shooters of other types of genres.
And I'm not talking about the multiplayer aspect. I'm talking about the campaign-wise. I mean, multiplayer, I think I played like three games. It just didn't feel the same to me. It didn't feel like Gears of War. I think this is when I was just really disheartened by Gears 5, and I just said I don't really want to play this game anymore. Or play the games in general, like what's to come after Gears 5 if they're going to keep going this route.
We really hit on, and we could find that we had something cool and different, because we could make these environments that probably wouldn't have worked very well in other games, but for us, they're perfect, and they provide the player a new experience. We meshed out an old level that was one of our early prototypes of an open level. A bunch of art love went into lighting, banging and polishing on it, and we pretty much pulled together the multiplayer map for E3 that was wildly successful by all press comments in about 8 days. It was wild.
8 days. 8 freaking days. Wow, dude.
But the thing is, like,
and this game is only like 6 gigabytes, 6 or 7 gigabytes. That really shows you how impressive dev teams were back then.
Like down but not out, and the reviving, and the weapon field, and the map, and the roadie run, and the weight of the characters, and getting in and out of cover, and just the way the entire game felt was so unique that you didn't need, crazy game mechanics like, double flips or anything like that. It was enough that what was there was interesting. And then you've got something new here, and it's like that was shocking to me that that's how people were interpreting it. That the feel of the game, outside of we need to come up with crazy stuff, that just taking basic movements and making them intuitive and making it easy to get in and out of cover, and giving a weight to that would slam into the door, and the weight of the characters moving, the camera movement, that was enough. The people just, that kind of gameplay with those kinds of controls and feelings, it made it a totally unique experience. And so we walk away from E3 with best online multiplayer game of show, and you're like, oh crap, we better look, we got to put some more effort into this.
They get a multiplayer experience that's out of this world, a single player experience that's beyond what they've played before, and be able to go in there and fight monsters with your buddies is something I'm looking forward to.
When you look at the team that is building the product and the universe that Gears...
Look at those computers. Look at those computers they had to use back then. Oh my gosh. People would think, we couldn't, they couldn't get a lot of stuff done back then. I'm like, you'd be surprised just how strong those computers were back then. Yeah, they were clunky and everything, but man, they did their job. But meanwhile, my little laptop and stuff would probably struggle just to do a certain thing. Okay, as I said, I get this feeling when I think of Killzone. I miss that series, especially their game. What you said about strategy was their A game. They had everything laid out for every tactic. And the multiplayer got the kill animations. I never forget. Yeah, I wish I could relate, but I'm sorry. I came to the game real late, like PS4 Killzone, and that's the one. It just killed the franchise right there. Shadowfall. I mean, me being so new to the Killzone, even I was like, this is freaking boring.
Prized of. I think we have very carefully selected talent, not just with the art staff, but with programming, with design. We have people that have enough experience in the industry and they're fans of sci-fi, but as much as they can appreciate certain characters and designs that are in sci-fi, we kind of want to put our own branding on it and our own stamp on it. And I think that's come through in the final product, from the nuances of how the environments kind of play out pacing wise from the level designers, and also to just the art style and direction, to the responsiveness of the characters and the way they move. I think it's all kind of perfectly come together.
We have everybody touching levels now. We have the levels shelled out. We have artists who are doing lighting passes. They're way too complex now to have just this sole person who's responsible for a level. Currently, I don't think you could point to a single level in the game and say, that's that person's level. We find the right person to do the particular task on the level. You got people who are awesome lighters. You got people who can do ridiculously good gameplay scripting. You got people who are going to do better at every little aspect of it. And you want to mix it up and get the benefit of all the expertise.
We've got a great art team. We've got from the top down, I think we've got great art direction, we've got great leadership, and we've got great bunch of guys that can produce the assets that just make it look amazing. And technology-wise, the tech is unbelievable. UE3, the tools, the engine, the lighting, all that stuff comes together along with the talent to make an exceptional looking game. I think everyone's a detail freak. You know, we've got a lot of guys on there with high poly backgrounds and stuff, and they just like to go nuts with the detail, textures, high poly models, things like that. And then some of the products that came out while we were in development, like ZBrush and Mudbox and stuff like that, are just allowing them to go nuts with detail, where they were kind of limited before with some of the apps that they used. Now sky's the limit, and you know they use it to the full extent, I guess.
And early on, we thought that, well, this is insane. This is silly to be building them at this kind of level of kind of clarity and of quality, but it's showing through. And that, the beauty of Unreal Engine and Next Gen is that all this artistry that's put into these pieces actually shows up. So detail is so important. You know, God is in the details, and it comes down to not having anything. Again, it's not betraying the experience to the viewer. We don't want the things that give away the fact that this is a real-time generated scene. We don't want flickering. We don't want Z fighting. We don't want particles that clip through the ground. We don't want characters that pop in their animations. All of those things take you out, and you sit there and go, okay, well, this is a game. And if we can get rid of all that and really make sure every detail is covered, then people are going to just be totally, just insanely engulfed in this experience.
And they did a hell of a job right there. They did. They did a heck of a job. Another series that gives me this same feeling is Crysis. I've been thinking about playing Crysis. I played the first one a bit, but I never made it out of the first mission. I don't know what happened, but I am thinking about replaying the first Crysis and eventually work my way up to the third. Another series, a trilogy whose multiplayer. Dude, I want to experience the multiplayer. I did see a little bit of like videos of the multiplayer, and it looks so freaking cool. Yeah, dude. All right.
The team here is awesome. I mean, I think that was the funny thing about the E3 special was, you know, they came looking for all this drama, and this team doesn't have that. I mean, this team works together really well, and it's having a team of leads, which is a really, I kind of feel is truly a team of peers, and where everybody values their opinion even outside of their discipline. So it's kind of interesting to have, you know, the ability to share our opinions or gameplay opinions, and likewise in other areas from other people. And so the passion of the team, the fact that everybody works well together, that we have the same goals for the game, I mean, it all makes a really strong team to me.
Here we go.
Well, it could be Alpha. Dog tags are gone.
Well, Marcus is the main character, so what you do is cast the main guy and kind of figure out what his voice is going to be. When you're playing a game like this and you hear a lot of dialogue off screen, you need the voices to kind of contrast and play off of one another really well. So when we were initially looking at these guys, we're like, wow, these guys all look badass. They all need to have badass voices. And then the more we thought about who Dom was, and we thought about who Baird and Gus were, the more we realized we needed contrast there. So Dom really does sound like a guy who can hold his own, but he's also sounds like your best friend, right? Baird kind of sounds like the bastard he is, and Gus is just, you know, the big kid involved in everything. And you can take one random sound file from the game of a character and match it up to the character that they're playing, and it works out really well from that end.
Control, this is Delta. No resonator.
What do you think?
Alpha Squad.
What do I think?
Over.
Could be Alpha, or it could be the Locust setting a trap. There's only one way to know for sure.
There's your boy.
Well, I mean, Marcus is the key character, obviously, and John DiMaggio plays a fundamental role in establishing that character. John is the third voice for Marcus, and we tried to go different routes, and we tried to be anti-cliched, and that's such a way to phrase that. But you know, I'm trying to find the everyday hero, and we ended up overshooting that, and it didn't sound like a person you cared about who would be this ultimate, you know, savior of the humanity. And John's ability to bring a depth to his voice, but also
look how young he was. I understand this is like 19 years ago, but still.
Realism to his voice. That was the nice thing about our cast, is when we went through all the characters, is like, except for maybe one or two instances, everybody's doing a slightly altered version of their natural voice, and so all the acting and all the lines sound natural, and none of it sounds forced because they're not doing cartoony voices.
Control, this is
Robin Atkin Downs. Oh yeah, Robin Atkin Downs. That's another legend right there. Freaking Kaz from Metal Gear Solid. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he was a character in Resident Evil, wasn't he? Oh, he was Kim? Min Young Kim, okay.
Yeah. We have visuals on Alpha. Possible KIA. No sign of Resonator.
Oh yeah? Then you can sit next to Marcus.
Hold your fire, Delta. Standard weapons
Anya
won't work.
Stroud.
Do you still have the Hammer of Dawn?
A berserker. Quiet. She can hear us. She can smell us.
Deploy a King Raven ASAP. We need that data for the warhead.
Oh man, we don't.
Oh, Coltrane.
I'm starting to think you don't like me.
Finding textures of voice was important, like finding men.
Coltrane. My boy Travis Touchdown. Yeah, yep. You're right.
It was a little bit higher pitched and a little bit more straight laced. And finding Dom, who had a little slight Hispanic tone to him, which is really great about Carlos, is that we were trying to figure out how to mutate his voice. And in fact, when he talks to you, he talks exactly like we wanted.
I mean, I'm not trying to sound funny here. I know they all like kind of like correspond with the race of the characters, and you know, just imagine this wasn't DI or anything, obviously, but just imagine if this game came out nowadays, it just wouldn't. It just wouldn't be the same. You know, they actually chose people who were actually right for the job, and man, dude.
Which is pretty normal, but the occasional Hispanic flair when you got a word that was sort of that way. And so it was just finding the differentiating pieces. And I think, you know, there's some places where I wish we could have done maybe better if we'd heard them more as a ensemble cast all at once. You know, I think we could have done a slightly better job differentiating them. But for the most part, I'm really, like I said, I'm really proud of the cast we have and the performance they did.
I can't see it. I can't see it. I can't see it. I can't see it.
When you look at the casting of Rasta as Gus, we were kind of, you know, watching the videos of the previous work that this guy had done. He'd done these crazy kind of, you know, football player commercials and whatnot. And we're sitting there thinking, wouldn't it be fun to go to war with that guy? And we cast him kind of a stunt casting. It's just kind of like, you know, this would be crazy. This would be cool. And the character was already built. And, you know, he had arms that were, you know, they were decent size.
I can see Terry Crews voicing Augustus Cole or Coltrane. I can see Terry Crews doing that, which is the Old Spice guy.
That's right.
The original Old Spice guy.
Yeah, it's some pythons.
Or Chris's dad from Everybody Hates Chris.
Pythons in his arms, but once we really got the voice in there, we realized this guy needs some guns on his arms. I mean, he doesn't just need a Lancer gun. He needs, like, you know, got tickets to the gun show type guns. And the arm size after that wound up tripling after we cast Rasta as Gus. The overall kind of design motif for Gears is kind of something old, something new, right? You have a bolt-action sniper rifle that's old, but it looks sci-fi, right? You have these characters that have these kind of sci-fi suits, but there's really not a lot of laser weapons in the game. We kind of knew we wanted to go old school with the music as far as, you know, classical instruments of just strings and you know, very much a
music
orchestra that we could actually later record live.
Especially when you hear the
quality
the train wreck
live is just tremendous.
or it's called the Locust game, like
in the game.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, that's the Gears main menu. Or not main menu, but the main theme. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
Having the soundtrack or the score recorded by an actual orchestra, again, to me, it adds to the credibility of a AAA.
I miss that too. I miss that in games and movies, where it's that actual orchestra. I mean, you gotta admit, there was like so many entertainment back then was using so many orchestras. I mean, Spider-Man with Danny Elfman, X-Men, with Hugh Jackman, they were using a lot of orchestra, especially in the third film. I know everyone don't really like that film, but I liked it. I mean, what else? Batman 1989. And don't get me wrong, I understand. I kind of like, not kind of actually. The only time I actually really liked this new way of performing music was like Hans Zimmer with Amazing Spider-Man 2, Man of Steel, definitely Man of Steel. I'm a big fan of Man of Steel's music. But even though it wasn't really, I don't think Hans Zimmer worked on orchestras. I think he was everything like in his little sound booth where he was just electronically making it. So, but either way, that was, when it's to a degree like that I'm fine with it. But mainly it's just when you listen to this music that's being made, it's just not even like, there's nothing really memorable. Like, the songs are not memorable at all. Usually they're not. The one who I could think of, like, there's actually two I can think of in modern times is the guy who did the music for the Batman 2022, and of course Hans Zimmer. That's it. And I lean mainly towards Hans Zimmer than the other guy. But that's it. Maybe John Carpenter and Cody Carpenter too, because they're pretty amazing. They actually are. They are pretty good. But that's really it. I can only name just that. Anyway,
franchise and the richness of the performance. I mean, much like having John do Marcus, and you listen to him, and there's something about what he brings to the character and meaningfulness and believability to it. I find that the orchestra recordings of our music change it completely to making it grounded in the world and real, as opposed to some synthetic thing. It's just the orchestra strength. I mean, some of the tracks were like, I was personally a little, I'm not certain about this track at this particular moment and that kind of stuff. And then when Mike came back with the orchestra recording and you listen to this music being played live, it completely changed it and made it real and made it legitimate. And I feel that's what I think that's doing for us too. Is I think it's just raising the quality bar even higher on the franchise and on the product.
So good.
I hope Gears gives the players the feeling that they had as a kid when they would be afraid of something and then ultimately be empowered to kind of defeat it.
I hope they get an excellent gameplay experience. I hope they get floored by the visuals. I hope the gameplay is fun and they can revisit it often.
Ideally, when they play another game after this and you can't take cover or you can't do something in the game, it'll feel like it's missing something.
I want them to go and see this as something bigger than what it is, which is a game right now. I want them to look for bigger ways to explore it. I want them to be jazzed that they play it. I want them to be telling their friends. I want word of mouth to spread like crazy. I want people just to be having that adrenaline rush after finishing and going like, I'm so satisfied that it was the right amount of time and the right amount of excitement and the right peaks and valleys of the gameplay, that it wasn't just, they don't go away disappointed, that they go away like, I spent $60 or whatever it's going to be on that, and it was well worth the money and I'd do it again.
If we can have people participate at a level where they walk away still talking about it, then we've certainly achieved everything that we've kind of started out to achieve.
If people are sweating after they're done playing, we've done our job.
It's an enjoyable, beautiful, exhausting cinematic experience, and I think people are going to like it.
Oh, God. Oh.
Hey, Daddy.
I've been doing this 18 years. I've done a lot of crunches. I want to make sure that I get my time with my family.
Oh, Jerry O'Flynn. He looks like Matt Mercer. Oh, my gosh. You sure that's not Matt Mercer?
The company gets the time that they need as well.
I hope not. We keep saying we're going to lock this thing down. There's always more to do.
It's a constant battle. It's a constant struggle. You're coming up
I
from
would just love that. That guy's so lucky. I would just love that. I mean, I do kind of have like concepts on my wall, hang on my wall and stuff, but just if it was like to the level that they were doing it, man, oh man, you bet you're behind. I would like my walls would be decorated with with projects, like literally sleep, breathe, eat, live, just all day, every day.
Today?
Yeah, what time do you want me there?
Noon, probably a little before noon.
What about me?
Yeah, if you can come up later this afternoon.
Do you want me to Megan, but here's the deal. If you tell too many kids about what you're doing, like they're not going to believe you. So, or they'll get really jealous. Don't tell the mean girls because they'll just use it against you.
They don't even know what motion capture is.
That's true.
Yeah.
They also say he looks 16 and you look like you're in your early 20s.
So the motion capture sessions are kind of, there's multiple different ones that we do. We do them for the movement sets for our characters in the game.
That's what I'm talking about. Look at the camera. Look like, damn, I wish I had like a comparison where they did like the original and then like the remastered. And you would just see just like there was so much grittiness in the original compared to the remaster. I understand what the remaster was trying to do, but it could never capture though that shaky camera angle. And that it's not to the point where it's disorienting. It was perfect, actually.
This is going to be awesome.
So we'll
like
get somebody
you were
in the
actually
suit.
A traitor like you doesn't deserve to wear the uniform.
And then 2 kind of red top of muscle.
Because last time you had to put these on, you're so
I gave it to you.
You're going,
Here you go.
right there and there.
Look out. Look down the street. Down the street the other way. Grab the shutters. Close it up.
That's the
and it's the baddies are
when
coming.
the Kagura
I love what I do. I love
arrive.
the products that we're working on, and so I love coming in here and doing this stuff. But I also love my family, and so it's a constant trying to make sure everybody gets the time that I get the time with them, and they get the time from me.
That's so cool. You're actually working. He's actually working. That the other one actually.
Hold it.
My daughter is 9 years old. She loves drama and acting, so she's actually doing, going and seeing her perform, and my wife is an actress as well. So just participate, just trying to get them in my short films, So it's a lot of fun.
How's it feel, sweetie?
What is she doing?
Oh, you see yourself?
The model self. I don't remember there being anything model. Oh, children have these.
Stand, and then what I want you to do is kind of stand here and just kind of look around like you're just bored. Okay. Okay, so just stand there. You're bored. You're waiting on somebody. You're waiting outside of school for your mom to pick you up. It's like, when is she gonna get here? All right, now look up at me. Just looking down the street, arms down. Just kind of bored. In terms of actually balancing it against work,
honestly, thought she'd be like you're the model
18 years, so I've had a lot of practice at balancing it. Gears of War is huge because not only is it going to be just a killer franchise, a killer app from a game playing standpoint, but from a visual standpoint, it really shows the power of the 360.
Find those men and deploy that resonator. Will we have air support? What? Are you kidding? You are the support, son.
Video game development has a certain amount of pressure involved with it, just a little bit. I actually went to the doctor the other day for a checkup, and I found out my blood pressure is 50 over 85, so I think my head's about to explode like in the movie Scanners. My name's Cliff Blazinski, and I'm the designer of Gears of War.
Well, Cliff has always been a creative a very creative guy.
Tap B to melee, hold B for the chainsaw, is what it's going to say. I want the torque bow to be an at the ready, so you can like hold it kind of like this. Yeah. And then when you get in close, have them like a... Cliff is chaos.
Most of the time it starts with Cliff.
Cliff has always been kind of a crazy, like, oh, wouldn't this be cool? And he comes up with some crazy shit.
All of a sudden it's a giant thing and Cliff's in a tizzy. Like, oh, this is going to be... So he's like, somebody give me a crown. I need a pen. Anybody, give me a pen.
You heard about the soap, right?
No, but that would be funny.
Josh modeled like soap, and I want to put it in the corner, like with the showers. And like if you actually go over and hit use, Marcus bends over to pick stuff up, right? I've been with Epic Games for 14 years now, since I was 17 years old.
He really knows the gameplay and game design aspects more than anybody else I've met in the industry.
This was like those games where you have to suck the stuff after you kill all the guys, or Prince Persia, where you have to always stick the dagger in.
I'm not trying to be funny here, but what have you guys noticed anything that I've noticed? Like, I want to see your guys' comments actually about this. What did you guys notice anything particular about this little documentary so far? Because I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait till everyone puts their thoughts into the chat, and then I'll read it, of course, and I'll give what I noticed. I mean, it's nothing new. I'm more than sure that a lot of people have been talking. They talk about this whenever it comes up, everything, but it just really goes to show you what is missing nowadays. And it's not me trying to be funny about stuff when I do talk about it. It's just the nature of the reality. Oh my gosh, dude, this is... I really want to recapture the essence of this attitude. And I don't mean like it has to be overly masculine or anything. I mean just guys getting together, just not only guys, but just people getting together, actually working to make this awesome freaking game or movie or whatever. And it's just, it does so well that it gets multiple sequels and a prequel and all that.
He really knows exactly what makes a fun game, what makes a successful game, and how to put all of that stuff together.
What's up, man? Game designer is responsible for keeping the vision for the project. So it's one part dreamer, one part salesman. Okay. Dash of bull. My feelings right now are basically constant nausea. This is the Super Bowl. It's the Super Bowl of careers here. I mean, if this game doesn't do well, people at Microsoft are going to get canned. So no pressure, right? It scares the crap out of me. So I'm responsible for designing what is going to be the hit game of the year for Microsoft, presenting it. I'm also in the process of moving into a condominium, dealing with the relationship, and also raising a puppy. Everything is completely crazy right now.
Grandpa, good boy.
Taking personal time is very, very difficult. Some people have wives and families, and they need to go home and take care of that. I need to take my dog out, take him to the lake. That's my moment of zen, and I'm going to take it. It's a lot of work, but it's also a lot of fun making video games. Throughout the 14 years I've been doing this, my career has been the one thing that I knew was stable, that would always be there. I've had relationships begin, I've had them end, but my career has always been the one thing I come back to. This last month has been a roller coaster ride for me, but you know what? At the end of the day, I would rather have my life be interesting in a roller coaster than boring and flat.
I never really expected to be this successful when I went into game development. A really big house. I don't know why I have a big house. I don't really need it. I don't use much of the space, but I figured, I have the money, why not?
All right, hold on. I think what is missing from nowadays is the connection to fans when it comes to certain decisions nowadays. We get here and they're like Oblivion remaster, but others slide out down. That's a good situation right there, man. That's pretty good. I was gonna say you don't see a lot of women in that development team. You don't. The only woman that we saw, females we saw, was the guy's wife and his daughter. Again, that's not me trying to be funny. Now, that's not me trying to say like, oh, women can't do this, but what's plaguing a lot of these games and just entertainment in general is, and I'll give you a great example. Hold on, let me give you a good example right here. Give me a second, y'all. It might here it is. Is this it? Is this the one? I don't know if that's the right one or not. Totally could be wrong. Right here. Here it is. Here it is. Let me stop sharing that. This is 343 right now, or Halo Studios as they rename themselves, which is totally unnecessary. You did not really need to rename yourself, but whatever. You worry more about rebranding yourself than that. But anyway, what do you look? This is 343 Industry. Well, formerly 343 Industries, now Halo Studios, and what do you see? A lot of women. I don't think I see a man in here, and if there's a man, it's probably a soy boy, more than likely. But this is what's plaguing a lot of these game studios, these AAA game studios. I mean, again, it's not me trying to like demean the women or anything, but when you're in this death cycle, really, basically, and you're wondering why your games are sucking, you have these people who are not competent. And you heard it from the horse's mouth in the documentary. One of the programmers or coders, whatever, they've been doing it since they were like a teenager. I'm willing to bet like maybe one or two at least within this group has been doing it since they were kids. They've been doing stuff like that since they were kids. I'm willing to bet only one or two of them, and the majority of them went to college, got indoctrinated, and they think they know better. Again, this is not me trying to be funny or anything. It's just that we've been seeing this for 10 plus years now, maybe. So I'm just saying, and that's not me trying to say, oh, women bad at making games and all that. Calm your horses, you know. It's just, I mean, I'm just making just a solid observation, especially hearing what these guys are saying too. Anyway,
I'm Tim Sweeney.
Hold on. I get it. I get it that companies need to make money, but to make money off of games, you need to make it enjoyable. We will buy games way older that did this concept. Yeah, and you know it's bad, and you know it's bad when the kids that are now adults, they're playing games that we played when we were kids. So I mean, that if that's not telling you something's wrong with modern gaming, modern AAA gaming, then I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, you can play God of War Ragnarøkkr, but what about the originals that brought up the series instead of the newest Street Fighter? What about Street Fighter 4 that was revolutionary at the time? Yeah. But I seen this meme where it wasn't. I mean, it's a meme, but it spoke a lot of truth. And you had two sections. You had the upper and the lower. The upper was basically the different games of the day. Like, okay, you see how they escalate from like pixelated to 3D, to like low polygons, all the way up to like high definition 3D polygons and all that. And then in the lower section, it's like the kids that are growing up, and there's like, oh, this is your type of game, and you barely see any like progress in and it's not just graphics, but I understand what they were conveying. Like, okay, yeah, it's stagnant, dude. The gameplay is stagnant. The graphics are stagnant. There's nothing really being added like that's new or revolutionary. So it was. I wish I had that meme bookmarked. I would have showed you guys already, but it just really goes to show you like where this is the state of AAA gaming. And yes, I know that everyone and their mother heard like, oh man, AAA gaming is so bad nowadays. Oh yeah. We all heard that. I'm not trying to get into that whole debate and discussion. I'm tired of it myself. So let's get into it.
The founder of Epic Games. I've been programming all of my life. I started when I was 9 years old. I probably spent
a case in point right there. Dude said he's literally been doing it since he was 9 years old, and I'm willing to bet that. I mean, we're talking probably in the 80s for this guy, because at the time it looked like he, So, just saying.
13 or 14 hours a day on average.
13, 14 hours a day on average, but yet these companies want to hire people who've only been coding since they were adults, 3 or 4 years of college, and not even put that amount of hours into it. I'm willing to bet not. Within a single day. Think of that. That dude's been coding since he was 9 years old, 13, 14 hours a day. I'm pretty sure when you add up 3 to 4 years total of how many hours you've been working on, it's going to be a lot. But compared to this guy, this guy outpaces them by like 5 or 6 miles. Well, if I want to say years wise, probably at least a decade at least, with how long he's been doing it. I mean, when he's a kid and all, I don't know. I wouldn't know the exact measurement, but I would imagine it's just by a lot.
Programming or thinking about programming. I started Epic back 15 years ago. I started making a few very small games. Back then a game was a small effort. I spent a couple months programming a game, and I drew the artwork myself, and I released the game that way. I just grew the company that way slowly, starting from the very beginning, making the first games myself, working in my parents' basement.
He's really good at what he does, and it's not like he just comes here and plays or whatever. This is just his life, is being here and working on the technology and keeping his pulse on like the industry.
And that's a good thing too for people who want to work on their quote unquote passions and all. I'm not trying to get too real with people. I'm not trying to be like this voice of reason or morality or whatever. But there's a thing where we're in this we have this gig economy, and what separates the people from just doing gigs and then doing an actual business. And I don't mean like being a businessman, but you have a plan. You actually have foresight, insight, foresight, and just able to visualize where your small business. It might be a small business, but it'll escalate up to whatever you can bring it up to within 5 years or maybe less. And when it comes to me, I don't do this for with writing and the creation of these manga comics, as I call them, or doing these little dubs too. I don't do this as a little side gig or side job. No, dude, this is all part of the plan. It's all part of the plan. So I think I take a lot of offense if someone tries to tell me like, oh, it's a gig. I'm like, it's not no damn. Oh, try not to cuss, but it ain't no darn gig. It's this is a business. This is a business. It's just y'all don't see it. Well, I'm not saying you guys in particular, but the people who say it's like y'all just don't see it because you don't have what I have, which is vision.
All the time I'm not typing code into the computer. I'm actually just writing notes and planning what to do on paper.
He could easily own an island in Fiji and never have to work again a day in his life. But
this is my dining room. I've never actually...
Right, and that's the thing too. I think that's another thing too of these people who are like, oh, if I had my own business and everything, yeah, I would retire. And I'm like, as for me, I wouldn't really want to retire. I'm not doing micromanaging or anything. I'm not trying to make it all about me. I really relate to what this Tim Sweeney guy is saying, and what his people are saying too. And I think the beauty of this too is that people, especially with the 2020s that we're in, and when 2020 began, and we're in the early 2020s, it's crazy to think that we're in the mid 2020s now. People really their eyes open up and are like, wow, what is the point of me going to work at 9 to 5 or whatever and making these people wealthy, but I can't improve my life. Again, I'm not trying to get too real here. I'm actually trying to have fun, but I'm really resonating with that. And a lot of people, as I said, they're realizing this, and they're pushing back in their own way. And now you got these entrepreneurs saying, oh, it's a bad thing that these people are doing this because what if this happens and that happens? It's like, that's part of the process. It's called taking a risk. Anyway, another thing about money, they want inexperienced people to pay less. Yeah, you're completely right. You're completely right. People who have been coding since that expect the high salary, no less reason why they go to make their own companies. Yep. What was that game? Flaming Claw. What was that game that you told me about that was made by the Witcher people? Was like vampires. What was that game called? Because that actually looks fun, dude. Most don't retire. They get too bored with the idea, and the best they do is go on to do something with the time they have and use it to go and be better. Yeah. During college, there was this old professor of mine, science professor, Mr. Roberts, and he legit said to us, he's like, I do not plan to retire. And, at the time, me being not even knowledgeable about this stuff and being a good little drone and everything, I was like, what do you mean you don't want to retire? That doesn't make sense, dude. But now, again, he found his passion, and he worked in the field that he loved the most. And of course, he's like, if you were to retire, you basically like, oh, that's me just basically giving up on life and accepting that I'm good. I'd rather just die. Like, no. And obviously that things kind of changed up when 2020 hit. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is that, yeah, I can't really foresee myself ever retiring if I were in his shoes of like when it comes to like what I love to do when it pays me well. And it doesn't have to be like, oh, I could be ultra wealthy or rich. It's enough to actually pay the bills, put food on the table, and yada yada yada. The Blood of Dawn Walker, dude. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Oh, and while I'm talking, y'all, my birthday is coming up, like within a week. Not a week from now, 2 weeks from now. And I don't know if I want to do like a birthday stream or anything like that. But if I do, it might be focused on Doom. It might be focused on Doom because Doom comes out that same week as well. So it's going to be, I've been playing around with that idea for a bit, but we'll see.
Eating here. Well, I usually eat out. I usually get food at Burger King. This is the piano room. I'm a really terrible piano player. Those are garnets from an old garnet mine around here in North Carolina. I'll go out hiking once in a while. When I find a cool rock, I'll just grab a few and add them to my collection. There's a big difference between the quality of the rocks I found on my own and the ones I bought on eBay. I have a really cool yard with garden and a nice garden and a lot of landscaping. So when we were planning out the house, I said I wanted a fountain with a huge rock that spits out water from the top. I have a climbing tree. I have to see the game room now. This is really cool. This is the game room. Don't play any games here.
Look at that, man.
That's
a dream house.
Of course, the best part is this beanbag.
Not quite my style, but it is a dream house.
Gotta have one of these. It turns out that having fast cars is an excellent hobby when you're a workaholic, because even if you don't have any free time, you can always drive the car to work. Epic's a leading developer. They put incredible efforts into making sure that every game we release is an excellent experience. Gears of War is a big change in pace for us. It's really the first truly next generation game in terms of having extremely vivid graphics, extremely immersive environments, and a continuous world. This next generation is about bringing that level of detail up to very close to what you expect to see in a movie now.
Years ago, I just wanted to see a gun with a chainsaw on it, to me, right? Like a futuristic version of a bayonet. And I hadn't really seen it in any games yet. And there's been chainsaws in games before. There's a chainsaw in Resident Evil 4. There's a chainsaw in Doom. But a chainsaw with a gun? Now that sounds like a chocolate and a peanut butter type situation, right?
I think when it comes to babies, you've got the chainsaw gun, and that's probably the mother of all babies for Cliff, because he's been touting that chainsaw gun
in video games
since
iconic weapon in video
day
games.
one of our kind of redesign on this project. He wanted the gun with the chainsaw on it, and it's cool that Cliff, sticks to his guns, so to speak, because it gets in and it works and it kind of proves his point. And I think it's going to be a big success.
Well, the biggest thing right now, the decision we made today that affects gameplay, is that we need to get the chainsaw attack in. If we can't throw a grenade, so be it. I'd rather the chainsaw and the use of the chainsaw on the Lancer is going to be a trade, as a game making moment. It's part of our visual ID. It's what makes Gears. I mean, I think if he finished Death Animations and worked on the Bolo and back and forth with Aaron, I think we can get it done. I think it'll look fucking awesome. We get Matt's blood shit in there, so blood's flying out. I mean, I think it's gonna look, and I agree. I think we've been, touting this gun with a chainsaw on it forever, and it'd be nice to finally have that fucker in.
Right. We got great VO for it.
Here, I want to show you cool shit. Want to see the chainsaw again?
I always like chainsaw.
So the thing that best represents kind of
seeing anything with Epic Games back then makes me think that back then Epic Games had class and standards, but now it's a joke of studio. Look, the most I know about was the whole Epic Games versus Steam stuff, and then they basically made themselves look like clowns in the end. But I don't know what else they're doing. I don't know what they're doing nowadays, I'll be honest. And I was just thinking back to, like, while we were watching the Tim Sweeney guy, the former, the guy who created Epic Games, I was just thinking, like, man, what if Epic Games actually teamed up with Steam after, with Microsoft, or they actually teamed up with Steam and Microsoft to do, we would have had like Gears of War on PC already. And I don't know, that's just that'd be a cool what if moment.
the coolness of Gears is the chainsaw shot, the blood on the lens,
just the violence of that shot. We keep referring to it as intimate violence. So for me, the chainsaw shot's a money shot.
So it's configurable for how much blood gets splattered up, how fast they hit. Is that something like what you wanted?
Yeah, totally. All right. Did I tell you what I want? If you hit the B button more, he actually holds it in him longer.
Like this one splatters over time. Yeah. So, the blood continues to come. With the shotgun, I'll probably make one that's just...
Cool, thanks, dude.
Yep.
The way that this game is being built right now is like trying to construct a car that's barreling down the freeway at 90 miles an hour while the freeway is still being paved, headed for a brick wall on fire. And if it comes together on time and everything's great, I will just be blown away because right now it's really scary.
Today's our executive review. That's where we get all the execs from the companies. That's me, Tim Sweeney, our CEO, and Mark Rain, and then the lead designer of our other game, Steve Folge, will come in as sort of an outside voice to take a look at Gears.
We're at a very, very sensitive point right now where we're trying to stitch the game together and make it playable start to finish, and just to iterate on the process of creativity and figure out if something's fun. And everything continues to break on a regular basis.
So who broke it? Whose do I have to kick?
When in doubt, break it with the chainsaw.
Ow! Ow! That's my...
Look at that. Look at that. They're having fun with their game, bro. They're having fun. They're genuinely having fun with their game. And this is the process where it's taking them 2 weeks to make that multiplayer. So this means they're getting ready to ship this game out worldwide. I think it had a worldwide launch.
Guys, you gotta be able to use the shotgun when you're in close, because as soon as they start getting you with the chainsaw, you're toast.
You got a point blank with the shotgun?
No, I didn't get a shot.
No, but I didn't get the shot off in time, but I should be able to.
No,
Well, that's King Mark.
Make weapons fast enough.
So just a little reminder that what we're looking for here is for Mark and I to have a good enough time that we think it's worth showing. So you can approach that however you want. One way would be to let the Wookiee win. There you go. Let the Wookiee win. Now we're talking.
Mike Capps, my favorite boss. Mike Capps is great. He's kind of like the the judge sometimes. He comes in and lays down the law.
Oh, the chainsaw. Oh, shotgun inside a chainsaw.
The chainsaw is almost perfect, and I jump up and down with glee every time I use it. It's actually a little too powerful right now. It's going to be a balancing design challenge for us.
I'll be back, y'all.
The Locust actually come after you with it and chainsaw you, and I actually had Dom and I chainsawing a Locust at the same time yesterday, and chainsawing people in multiplayer, and it's just disgustingly fun goodness. So did you see the chainsaw? Did you see it?
No.
Wow, it's a cold beer. Hey, cheers.
Cheers.
Here's to good writing and chainsaws.
That's right.
Mocap is motion capture. It's taking a person and basically using reflective material placed on them at strategic points. We capture that from 36 different cameras. The computers do the math on where each of those individual reflective markers are in 3D space, and then we put that onto one of our characters in the game. My name is Jeremiah O'Flaherty. I'm the art director here at Epic Games. I've been making video games for 18 years. I've been doing it since home computers first came on the market. I kept thinking at some point I'm going to get a real job, but it became a real job.
Jerry is the most impressive guy I've worked with as far as I can remember. I've always been impressed by the work and how he treats his guys and inspires them to do awesome work.
We have 4 really big scenes that we want to do that are kind of your big plot points, and that's the opening sequence, which we mocap today, different than what Dee Dee is doing. And then 3 other sequences. Actually, the one Dee Dee is doing is one. I've been working on Gears a little over 2 years now. For it to be a success, everybody has to hit on all marks. Nobody's going to buy it if the gameplay isn't there. And if the gameplay is super fun, but it's not visually compelling, are people going to want to buy it?
All right.
The motion capture sessions are like a film shoot or a video shoot. The cool thing about them is I'm never married to any aspect of it. I don't have to worry about lighting when I'm down there. I don't have to worry about sound being, any of the things that can kind of mess up a typical production. The motion capture sessions are kind of, there's multiple different ones that we do. We do them for the movement sets for our characters in the game. So we'll get somebody in the suit, for example. We need a run, we need a walk. We need him when he turns in place to do specific motion. And while we've got highly trained, really kick-ass animators, they want to start with something that's realistic because there's a lot of subtlety of human motion that is hard to put into a static object. If you start with all that subtlety already built in, you can kind of trim it out, make it what you want. And so it's a lot easier to get that underlying just character subtlety right from mocap. So we use it for our characters, just kind of get our movement set going. And then additionally, we will use it for our cinematics. And so in that case, instead of creating a walk cycle or a run cycle or these cycles that kind of loop, we actually take a scene in a very cinematic sense of the word, and we shoot the actors and we block them and they move through the scene. In the case of Gears of War, we're actually motion capturing the camera work at the same time. Because while we're blocking the characters out, I want the camera to have this handheld feel that we're kind of pushing through the entire product. So the camera, the in-game camera that you see while you're running around was me walking across the stage with a camera, so that it felt like a cameraman walking with a camera. And then we take that and we put it into the game. And so when you're walking around the game, you have the handheld feel, and then you transition to cinematics, and all of a sudden you have actors moving around with that handheld camera sensibility still completely seamlessly. All I'm really concerned with is the blocking of the characters and the way the camera moves through them. And if I'm not motion capturing camera at the time, then it's just making sure that the characters are moving in the way that I want them to. Once I get it onto the computer, I push cameras in, I push lights in. I can alter the timing of individual characters. Gears of War is huge because not only is it going to be just a killer franchise, a killer app from a game playing standpoint, but from a visual standpoint, it really shows the power of the 360. I think people are still just going to be amazed at what they see.
What's up, bitches? I've been at a lot of companies where there was like two groups of people. You've got the people with families, and you've got the people who are going out to party every night.
Go, 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 go! Be bad! Suck it down!
And often those don't mix too well.
You talk the weapons first. See, you're actually active. Oh, damn!
Everybody gets along really great, and it's probably the coolest dynamic that we've ever had here.
At Epic, we have a lot of guys who are, they're like me. They're young, they're single, and then we have a lot of family people.
That's our crunch lawn petting service. That'd be great. Yeah.
We'll definitely be at the Easter egg hunt. I absolutely adore watching my little girl on Easter.
Okay, everybody ready? Okay, let's go hunt some eggs. Gold watch or something.
Okay.
Can you open it? It's fine. Just put it in the basket and go get some more.
And there's so many families in Epic and so many kids here that it's great to have an opportunity to bring everybody together.
No, I don't have any like immediate family here. So the younger guys tend to go out and party more often, and then the older guys with kids at home and whatnot kind of work the normal hours.
You kind of get into a little, kind of your comfort level
That's what I like
of
about
life
these
at
old ones,
Microsoft,
man.
and then you come to Epic.
I never seen any of the
giant frat
new
party.
ones.
So this is the Epic
Because
Fitness facility.
generally, a lot of these new games suck. It's like, why do I want to get to know these people?
Do that.
You know what? I wish indie devs. Does anyone know that indie devs do this? Actually, just behind the scenes stuff, because that would be really cool. And I don't mean like them just going on streams and just talking about it. I mean like making a little bit of stuff like this. Now, obviously, you don't have to be like high grade and all that, but I would actually love to see stuff like a little documentary series like this. Be cool. not be corporatized, but actually have has a relatability.
We do everything we can to make crunch a little easier on the guys. We do things, we try to arrange lawn mowing services. We're bringing in a masseuse. We bring lunches in. We go out, we go drinking a fair amount. We've got, we're in redneck country, so we go shooting quite a bit.
Thing's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, it is.
Kind of scary.
The sights are all off there.
Really? You know, I don't mind the Callisto Protocol. I wasn't even honestly disappointed, but I did play it and beat it on its hardest difficulty before it had its update where they even added like a harder difficulty. And I was playing on the harder difficulty, and obviously I had everything. And I was like, man, this ain't even a challenge. I haven't played the DLC as well. But I kind of, man, what was his name? Elijah, the homeboy that been helping you since day one. Bro, Elijah, man, that was I like that. I like that character. That character was so cool. Wait, what? Too bad they were rushed and had to cut. Really? Was it? Remind me. Was it only for PlayStation? Was Callisto Protocol only for PlayStation? Because I can't remember. I didn't hate Callisto Protocol. I just wish it lived the hype. I wish it did as well as the Dead Space remake. I wish it did. His vision was much larger and more fleshed out game. Okay. Dan actually had a good interview with the lead developer. I think I've seen that. Oh, it's on all platforms? Okay.
We play sports. We have a soccer team, both indoor and outdoor soccer teams. We play basketball.
I say on the bright side, it might become a cult classic one day. It might just become a cult classic. Because I don't think that game was overly terrible or anything. I don't think so. Was it repetitive? Sure. Especially with the combat, with the melee combat, and you're not really promoting the use of guns that you acquired. But here's the thing with me. I didn't play the DLC. I haven't gotten a chance to play a DLC. So maybe that was fixed in the DLC. But in the main campaign, it was just he talks about how they had to cut content because of crunch, and that he was told he had free reign, and then they went back and told him he had to finish him. That's why. Wasn't he partnered with Sony at least? I think I might be. I know it had something to do with Sony. It had to, because I think he was at least partnered with them to a degree, where he was like using their technology. I think was that the case, James? That makes me think of Evil Within 2. They were doing the whole NPC quest lines, and then because of budget, that's what I was legit thinking about that 2 nights ago. I was like, man, it's crazy how Evil Within 1 has DLC, but Evil Within 2 doesn't have DLC. And it's been 8 years and no sequel. I mean, like Evil Within 3. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was something like that. Yeah. That's a lot of their these companies' mistake, and I can't blame Glenn Scout. Is it Glenn Scoutfield? Either way, I can't entirely blame him because maybe he's starting from scratch with stuff. But my thing is, these are the same. This is the same thing that Sony did with Kojima, and I don't mean like, oh, you have free reign. Then all of a sudden, I'm talking about like when Death Stranding was coming out. They gave him free reign of everything, but then they turned around like years later and said, "Oh, here's the director's cut," and I'm like, "How's it the director's cut when Death Stranding when it released originally? It was basically a director's cut because you gave him free reign of everything." That doesn't make sense. It's just a money grab. Anyway, Evil Within 2 is solid though. Scoyfield, yeah, I can't pronounce it, man. Yeah. All right, let's get back to Gears.
Basically, it's about hopefully getting a little bit of exercise and getting rid of some stress. We play video games all the time. Everybody here loves playing games. It's part of, it's not just what we do. We love it. We a new game comes out and work stops, and we all start playing video game and we love it, and we bitch about it and say it sucks and say we love it and it's better than our game and it's worse than our game, and then we get a new game next week and do it all over again.
I found that everybody thinks making a video game is sitting around playing games all day long, but it's really about playing a game that's broken and is nowhere near as fun as it could be. And then once it's no longer broken and fun, then you're done with it and you pass it off to other people to enjoy.
When I walk around and I see people playing video games that they're in their office, I'm glad. It's when I see them looking at Priceline for plane tickets, or they're doing, stock trades or something like that. That's when I'm like, what the hell, you're goofing around at work. It's just like that cheesy commercial on TV where like, oh no, the boss is coming. Don't worry, we work at a video game company. Yeah, it's actually just like that.
I don't think anywhere before here have I ever had as many people from the office know my family or know specifics about my day-to-day life.
I think everybody's really passionate about what they do. They work completely different hours. It's kind of a little bit weird environment, but in general, everybody's really happy, right? And that's what I think you look for, not just in games, but also in life.
I agree.
We play here probably too much, actually, but I think that's part of having a bunch of really creative guys working together and being happy to be together, is that kind of stuff.
It's like one big family.
There's always more work to be done than can actually be done. It probably will definitely.
Do y'all remember when and it has some merit to it, to be honest, with the whole Activision Blizzard scandal that's going on with the guys basically going to these like Playboy events almost. But I was just thinking, because I'm pretty sure it happened with every other game company, but not to the degree that Activision Blizzard did, or just Blizzard in general did it. And just seeing the articles come out, like, oh, like, the game journalists mainly just complain about, oh, how they're doing this and that, and it's like, yeah, and again, I'm not undermining Blizzard stuff. I'm talking about just male developers just doing having like little events like this, and it's just, I seem to remember that. I seem to recall that from these freaking journalists. They were just crying about it. And also, did you guys also hear about the good news about Polygon? Polygon, I've heard and seen, is that they have mass firings, and Polygon is not really doing so well. It's basically the end of Polygon. So, end of the era, but there's always going to be something that's going to take its place in a way. It may not be as big as Polygon, but they're trying to do something to come back. just like 4chan. Bro, Jaffe said he went to a Playboy Mansion. Yeah, I bet he did. I bet he did.
Get fairly stressful as people get less and less sleep. It's stuff that just comes along with the job. You get used to it.
D3's coming. We'll take it out on the mic. It's his fault. Make a calendar.
We can yell at each other and then go play foosball or something. Yeah.
Oh, nice save, Matt.
Yeah, foosball is one of those things that you have to play foosball to be a programmer at Epic. It's just a rule, I guess. That's how we get our stress out.
Oh, no.
Freaking love foosball.
Save.
Mike Capps.
I'm more of a pool guy.
Yeah, I always looked at him as a little bit as my mentor. Mike Capps is great. He comes down and lays down the law.
I don't have anything to say to Ray. I've got more to say to Ray's mom. I'm bad about taunting, how's your mom doing, that kind of stuff during a match, because he's really good at foosball.
Yeah.
None of mom jokes are going to come.
I had this really awkward experience
He's
where
a
his
gaming
mom
legend.
visited.
I
She walked in
won't
and said,
lie.
"Hi, I'm
He's a
Ray's
gaming
mom," and I was like, "Oh, once you've taught trash about a guy's mom, it's not cool to meet her."
That's all right. She has maintenance.
Didn't he get weird though?
Did you touch that?
Didn't Jaffe get weird though? Like he started going to the SJW territory. I can't remember.
Yeah,
he did.
Epic Games, a collection of artists, programmers, and creatives from all over the country. What do they do all day in their new building? What is going on with the new UT? What is Gears of War?
Oh my gosh, I miss
Have the scooters
this
become
type
not
of
useful
like
anymore?
cheesiness with these documentaries.
Tonight, we'll find the answers to those questions and then ask more questions with a crack team of investigative reporters.
This has to be the development, obviously.
We're going to take you inside the house that built Unreal. We're going to take you inside.
Look how just look how so much life there is in this whole project, in this whole documentary. You do not see this. You really do not see this nowadays. It's so corporatized. It's not even just, and if it's not corporatized, it's too simplistic.
Epic Games. So, Mr. Ray, you have a new logo, new business cards, and a new building.
Oh, he's super woke.
But
Oh
something is
man,
still missing.
they got him.
Can you guess what's missing?
Can't think of anything we're missing.
You need a mascot. Epic needs a mascot.
No, Megan, I'm not sure we need a mascot.
Let me show you some concepts, and I think you'll change your
Thanks,
mind.
What in
To get
tarnation?
those, let's check with our reporter in the field, Tyler Ferguson. Tyler?
Thanks, Megan. Today I'm going to be taking you on a tour of the new office, and here to help us is Kimberly.
Hey, Tyler. Welcome to our new
Oh my
Looks
god.
really good. Let's see what you guys keep on the first floor.
The first floor is mostly for business folks, but we do have this really nice new lounge.
Oh wow.
A nice big conference room. And a new decked out weight room.
Oh my god.
Wow, this looks great. I'm headed up to see the other floors now.
Thanks, Tyler. So what do you think of the mascot idea now?
Oh yeah, let's see.
Still not sure, Megan.
Well, here's a couple more concepts for you to look at.
This is like some Spy Kids type stuff right there.
Our reporters in the field, Steffi and Olivia, are ready to send us a report on the next Unreal tournament. So what do you have for us, guys? We're here
Robert,
with some of the creators of the
what
next
is good,
Unreal
bro?
tournament game.
What is good?
So you've got yourself a new Unreal game. How secure do you think it is?
How secure? I'm not sure what you mean.
Sebi here thinks he can use your own creations against you, break in and steal
We're
the code.
we're watching the
out.
Gears of War 1 documentary. Just look how light.
Well, what Steve's trying to say is that we already
this
give the
stuff,
code
man,
out to all of our
compared to
licensees.
Ready to break in and steal duty, yeah.
They're gonna have to hit us with a lot more than that.
So crazy. Oh my gosh.
All right, Sebi, fire when you're ready.
Oh my god.
Come on, okay, let's go ride in the city with this thing.
Oh wow. Is this the early concept of that vehicle? Wow. Or is this from another game? No way.
Holy shit! On my way! Wait!
Dude, that actually looks fun. It's like a cheap classic ad where it makes virtually no sense. Hey, those are the best ads to wake up to. Good to see you. Hey, good to see you, man. Man, the 360 was 3 generations so special. Yeah, hell, even the Xbox and PS2 generation. You beat me. You beat me to it, James. You literally said the same thing.
Still #1.
Let's check in with Tyler and see how the tour is going.
All right. Here we have our level designer's office, artist's office, programmer's office, the engine room, and here we have our programmer.
Can I see the engine?
Well, I'm not sure I'm supposed to show you that, but
Wow, this is unreal.
Yeah, right. Get out of here.
well, Tyler, that's about it for the tour.
Isn't that door with the do not go in there sign?
That's not a room you show people.
We can't go in there?
Not a good idea. That's where we keep the creatures from Gears of War.
Okay, so that's the tour of the Epic offices. Now let's check in with Kyle and Blake. I need to sit down.
Wow, this is what y'all guys do all day long.
Well, yeah, I mean, we do get to play the games a lot, but we also have a lot of work to do as well.
You want to help work on this game? Yeah, we could do some great stuff to help y'all guys finish this game.
I'll admit we're running a pretty limited crew for this size project. Are you guys prepared to do what it takes to make games?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are you guys prepared to crunch to get this thing out the door?
Yeah. I don't like ones. I like Hershey's.
Oh my
Well,
god.
if you guys want to be part of the team, you have to go through the interview
So
process.
cringe.
Yeah.
Cool.
That way. I think more like a pink, maybe? No, the other one. Are you sure you want it? Yeah.
Watch just be like scribbles everywhere, probably.
So, Kyle, you want to be a level designer, huh? Have you used the editor before? All right, well, it's not the most stable thing, so let's go ahead and try to use it. So, and then don't use your right hand. It'll more simulate what we would deal with on a daily basis. You know what? Can you back up and maybe try
I was saying
using
even before the game came out, I was watching interviews, dude. I was like, dude, I can tell this guy was actually the game.
Yeah, that'll work. Okay, now build something really pretty. It's still not really like you're working with the editor on a daily basis. Let's try
Let's try something else. Yeah. That's like it. That'll work. So you guys sure you want to be part of this madness?
Maybe we should just watch the trailer and play the game when it comes out. Cue trailer.
Cute.
Do you believe in monsters?
This is the prototype. This is the prototype trailer that they're showing with Steve Blum as Marcus Phoenix.
Or the thing that lives under your bed? Do you believe nightmares are real? Are you afraid of the dark?
That fairy tale stuff always scares the crap out of me.
Most urban legends are based on fact.
Tell me about it.
Man.
Thanks for the outstanding bit of reporting, guys. Okay, Mr. Rain, have I convinced you?
I think this mascot idea is kind of growing on me. Can you show me one more round of ideas?
I saved the coolest for last. I bet you'll love this.
Oh my god.
That's it from the reporting team here at Epic. We hope you have a good time and have another great year. And now, your moment of Zen.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas.
Oh yeah, the Mad World
Happy
song.
New
Yeah,
Year.
dude.
Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. We you make
Look at that development team. Look at that. You don't need like 20,000 people just to work on one game. And you know it's crazy. And you know I'm right too, because case in point, Assassin's Creed Shadows. Over 2 hours long of credits. Over 2 hours long of credits. When it should be only like 5 or 10 minutes. At most, maybe 15. 2 hours is a freaking movie. Oh, I bet that's very nice. Okay, we're at E3. Hey, remember E3?
This is the first E3 since we made a major organizational shift at Microsoft. With Gears of War, we're delivering the most powerful high-definition gaming experience to date.
It's your 6 minutes, so use it the way you want to use it.
Couldn't be more excited to be here because we're delivering the next generation of gaming right here and right now.
14 years building up to this moment since I started doing this.
I know.
I started the company in 1991. It was just myself working in my parents' basement. I never really expected to be as successful as I went to game development.
The American dream. And that worked.
I'm not a good manager of people.
I've got all this built up anxiety and anger, and I can't yell at anybody because everybody's working hard.
Mike is a good manager of people.
Microsoft is really staked on this game. This is their killer app for the holiday for Xbox 360.
Oh,
Rod
yeah.
is a walking
You're
HR
right, Robert.
violation.
Come here and let me crush you with the heel of my boot.
Yeah, I'm used to having to pay for that.
It's a game that's built around cinematic experiences and really getting immersed into the story of a game.
Look at that.
Cliff is a media whore, and he loves it.
I want to be on the TV.
My girlfriend's name is Chantel, and she
Bro,
made a big deal about it. We kind of hit this nice sweet spot in the middle. Combination of the best elements of a tactical shooter with the cooler parts of a survival horror game.
Are you afraid
Of the dark. I lose sleep over this game every night, thinking about how it controls, thinking about the pacing of it, thinking about how strong the enemies are. This is the company's baby, it's my baby, and we're betting the farm on it. Years ago, I just wanted to see a gun with a chainsaw on it to me, right? Like a futuristic version of a bayonet. Chainsaw with a gun? Now that sounds like a chocolate and a peanut butter type situation, right?
Oh, you cocked the weapon first. See, you're actually accurate. Oh, damn!
It's a big old family. We go out, we go drinking a fair amount. We go shooting quite a bit.
Pretty bad.
Basketball, that kind of stuff. We play video games all the time. Basically, it's about hopefully getting a little bit of exercise and getting rid of some stress.
Oh, right across the chest.
Do you realize I'm sacrificing any life I have to sit here and help you guys, and yet you shoot foam darts at me as if my life needs that excitement?
My name is Laura Fryer, and I'm an executive producer at Microsoft. My job is to really help make sure that all of the groups working on Gears of War are well coordinated. So I manage the relationship with Epic. We've had a lot of back and forth with Epic. I think we have a pretty good approval. The only big issue still outstanding is Rod and Epic still want the chainsaw. So I'm going to work on that. But
I think
yeah.
we can manage through it.
E3 is our biggest milestone right now, and it's kind of getting ridiculously close. So that's scary.
A number of folks from Microsoft came out to sell us on how they're going to market the hell out of this game. Microsoft has never slung their weight this much behind a new IP that they do not own, and they're taking this very, very seriously. Microsoft has one punch to throw before the juggernaut of the PlayStation 3 launches, and Gears is that punch. I have never been fully satisfied in my entire 14-year career with any publisher's job marketing any product I've worked on.
So as we all know, Gears of War is currently like the #1 anticipated title for 2006.
We thought it would be really interesting. The military's got these little directional speakers that they've actually been dropping in places like Iraq. So imagine you're standing on the platform of a subway station in let's New York City or the Tube or whatever, and we just make sounds come out of the subway tunnel.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, that's awesome.
They came in with giant nuts, and they swung for the fences. I mean, they called it out like a babe. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Something that
They're
modern
going to
Xbox
be putting
doesn't have.
ads in subways that animate. They're going to put a 150-foot by 40-foot banner on the side of the LA Convention Center.
Thanks, guys. Very nice to meet you. Nice work.
Man, look at that.
E3 is the damn Super Bowl of the video game industry.
All of the retail buyers and developers and the publishers and the press go to E3 and they look for the best games.
It is ground zero for what is going to be released over the next year.
My biggest concerns going into E3 are really more around our ability to get everything ready.
There's some things that are open issues that we just need to get decisions on, because I think multiplayer's got a ton of work to be done. Co-op wasn't functional as of 1 a.m. last night. And single player, there's some stuff we want to do in terms of VO and things like that Nash is resistant against, that we need to make that decision, make that stuff happen in the next 4 hours. Biggest concerns leading up to E3. Well, getting the demo done.
So we're going to have about 800 press go through this, and they're going to expect something that is ready to ship, right? I'd hate for everybody to say it was beautiful, but it really was lacking polish.
I think my job is on the line for Epic Games if we don't do well at this show.
For me, seeing people SWAT turning around and executing people down, but not out, and then, the dynamic of that. You know, you get one journalist chainsawing one of his buddy journalists. You know, I mean, they're gonna just love it. I think. Going into E3, we can't screw this up. E3 is coming faster and faster. It seems like time is accelerating at this point. Still a number of things that just are not done.
Dude, your tits are way too big.
That is clearly like a C cup or bigger. Looks like it was made by like a horny 15-year-old, and we're trying to be a little bit more mature than that. On a periodic basis, it's very necessary for everybody to be very hands-on with the game. So we have our play tests where people go down to the test lab and beat the hell out of the game.
Getting you out. Here, put this on. You'll need it.
This is good. I get to practice. I don't see a chainsaw. Is that in? No, it's all content.
Crashed again.
Oh, man.
Explosion froze.
Oh!
We could have worse problems right now. I will be on stage in front of thousands of journalists and buyers. So you ask me if there's any pressure? Just a little bit.
You need more bars.
Yeah, they need more bars. You need more guard towers, more cell blocks.
It seemed like every time you're fighting the Locust, you're just fighting them head on.
It's not scary at all.
The fear criticism is a valid concern, and I think that'll come through ultimately when it's polished in the end, because at the beginning you start off and you're trapped in solitary confinement. Then we're going to end with the large monster type moment. Where from the get-go, I've wanted to make a game that has horror elements in it, as well as military themes, right? And we're not doing as good as we could.
Yeah, we took Eric.
So did you see the chainsaw? Did you see it? Did you see
No.
it?
When are we going to see it in the level, though?
Well, it doesn't just get hooked up in a level. It just gets hooked up in the game, dude.
Do you feel ready for E3, Cliff?
No, I'm horrified.
Yep. You're not
Oh, I just got paused.
Just start. Hopefully we're all in.
Was that it?
I think they dropped in the chainsaw again, and I think it was the chainsaw blood spray that you were seeing. We'll just say a gratuitous amount of blood.
It is vitally important that that one gets fixed.
Yeah, I suspect that one will be fixed. We'll get that one logged in as soon as we get back, because like they said, Epic feels that the chainsaw is a good representation of what Gears kind of represents.
You guys want to help me move?
I mean, how many boxes are there?
10. That's it? Yeah.
Taking personal time when you're in the middle of crunch is very, very difficult.
I don't have that much, honestly. It's like I have these boxes that are like this big, and they're a little clunky, and they're not incredibly heavy, but it's just like if two people carry it, it's super easy.
So, what furniture is rental? What's yours?
I don't need to bring any of them. Yeah. In fact, you want some of it?
Chantel and I broke up. So I'm responsible for designing what is going to be the hit game of the year for Microsoft, presenting it. I'm also in the process of moving into a condominium, dealing with the relationship, and I don't know what's going to happen after E3, but right now we're cooling it a little bit.
The communication issues we're having with Microsoft, I think it's just a matter of, right now, what ends up happening is people talk about things and people make decisions, and those decisions don't get communicated to everybody who needs to know.
Hey, how's it going?
You wanted to start going through Erica's questions since she has a majority of them, and then we can just revisit the status I sent out.
Majority? It's a interrogation is what it is. Jeez.
Make laugh.
Do you feel like it's pretty close to functioning the way you guys want it to be, or not? No, how much?
If you think the AI sucks, say the AI sucks. I mean, don't ask me how I feel about the AI.
AI stands for artificial intelligence, and basically it's the logic that drives the enemies in the game, or the things in the game that are not controlled by the players.
The AI sucks.
Okay.
And my feeling is it feels a lot like whack-a-mole right now, where it is, I'm ducking, you're ducking, I'm ducking, you're ducking, I pop up, shoot you, you duck.
It's actually a very complicated problem in figuring out how to get all of those people, and monsters in this case, to react the way that they would or should in real life.
That's the problem. Not really
Ready to go? Go.
That's the market for someone who don't understand what they're talking about.
A couple of weeks away for a final
days away, just so everybody's clear.
The biggest thing right now, the decision we made today that affects gameplay is that we need to get the chainsaw attack in. So we basically have made a priority decision that we're prioritizing the chainsaw attack over grenades and over pistol. It's what makes Gears Gears, and we need to have that moment at E3.
Peter Moore is not fine with the chainsaw.
Well, I guess Peter Moore's contention about the saw is that it's a little, over the top gory.
That's exactly what the.
Well, that's the freaking point. This is an M-rated game. It's an M-rated game. I'm pretty sure you all knew this from the beginning. It was gonna be an M-rated game. Here we go, man. You got the same type of people that we have now. Well, they're different. I mean, obviously they're different people now, but you got the same type of talking point that they have from back then and now. Dude, it's crazy. Reminds me of the whole Resident Evil 8 situation where like, oh, we didn't want the game to be too scary. I'm like, it's Resident Evil. It's horror, dude. Anyway.
Kind of branding we were going for, I thought.
We understand that. So does Peter. That's not something that we can change at this point because the ship has already sailed.
We were very concerned about the chainsaw. It gets kind of gratuitous.
By the way, this is the trademark weapon for the game. This is going to be in the demo. This is the way that Epic wants to convey this
like not
intimate violence in the game. And that's why we feel really strongly to have an assault rifle with a chainsaw bayonet. I just don't feel like the right people are championing the message.
So the chainsaw is really important to Epic because they consider it the feature weapon in their game.
That's
so for them, they really wanted to show that and have people remember that.
Start dragging stuff.
So Rod and Epic still want the chainsaw. So
and Tim as well.
Are you cool with that though?
I'm very cool with it.
We really do have to cut the chainsaw.
Yeah,
and I knew that was going to be a problem, but there you go.
Well, but
yeah, cut the chainsaw. You want that makes no damn sense. I mean, I'm glad things played out as they did because we still have the chainsaw on the gun. But can you imagine them? You're talking about Microsoft back in the day, where they're going against blow for blow with with PlayStation and Sony, I mean, and they're like, okay, we need this game to be the best that can be and get a lot of people. Well, what do you think people want? What do you think the gamers want when they see this Gears of War game? They want blood. They want gore. They want to execute people with a freaking chainsaw gun. They're shooting at these creatures that will brutally, just. Oh my gosh, dude! This is what I'm talking about. This is why it's just some. I'm gonna curse so bad, dude.
Because it's silly to try to cut it and say this will look really good when they're done. So, I mean, we know what you want, and I know it will make some people at Microsoft nervous because they don't have it in their hands, but it's not going to suck no matter what. No.
Okay.
Microsoft, in the end of the day, they're a publisher who understands that it's about making a fun game. They understand the tension. Their job is to push, and our job is to pull, but we both respect that.
But for everyone else, starting
it's not
next
about
Monday,
both
we're going to
respecting,
10-hour
it's about
days. 8 of those hours
you want to make money
between 10 and 6. So if you are an early morning person, you can do your 2 hours before 10, or if you're a late person, do your 2 hours after 6. So we're just basically going to be crunching company time.
Probably will definitely get fairly stressful as people get less and less sleep. I know I'm already cranky today because I didn't get any sleep last night.
And then on Saturday, it's core hours, so the 1:30 to 5. No limit on what your duration of time beyond that is, but we need you at least here on Saturday at core hours.
We have a bad show at E3, and it doesn't matter what we do in the next 4 months. No one's going to believe that the stinker of a game came out great.
Ding, ding, ding. Ding, ding, ding. You're right. And you guys were literally about to be jeopardized because of 2 idiots who don't know what they're talking about.
And we got it out for holiday. If it sucks, we're dead. It's done. This is the ugly part that we all know about the game industry where everybody hunkers down, but these are also the parts that I remember of all the games that I've worked on and the times that we're here eating Chinese food late at night making great games. We do everything we can to make crunch a little easier on the guys. We're bringing in a masseuse. We bring lunches and anything we can do to keep them focused on making games and reduce stress. We say it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Tim. Hey, bud. I want to borrow the Lamborghini. Going downtown with some friends, and I kind of told them I had a cool car. I'll bring it back intact.
All right.
I heard that you can basically get up to 80 in first.
Yeah, don't do that.
Tim, I assure you she's in good hands. Open.
Gently.
Thanks, Tim. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I have a question about my Lamborghini insurance policy.
Cliff is really good at his job, but he's a bit of a partier. You come to Epic and it's a giant frat party.
Here's to Scotty. Happy 25.
That's what I was thinking of. The journalists are complaining about how game development teams be having these frat parties and all that. They're literally complaining about that at one point in time. And it's just like, shut up, dude.
I gotta go to work after this, dude.
Cliff has always been kind of a crazy guy. I really don't care. I mean, more power to him.
Dude, dog, yeah. Just steady.
There's a bunch of bugs that I'm.
Those are the words I hate to hear.
Not quite there yet, but.
3 hours and we still don't have a working boat.
Oh my gosh. Woo!
I'm hoping everything's been pulled together for this final play test. A lot of the things that were broken were relatively easy fixes, but as I've said before, game development's a house of cards. Change one thing, change everything. It's either going to go great and we're going to be able to play it, or it's going to be a total cluster. Ow, ow, that's my...
I'm in Mark's or Mike's food, so I got one shot left to draw.
I'll chainsaw using.
Guys, you gotta be able to use the shotgun when you're in close. Like that's really annoying.
At E3, I would rather have journalists use the chainsaw too much than not enough.
It's a really cool moment in the Gears universe, grabbing that chainsaw and just ripping through someone. It's visceral, and that's what our games are about.
It's something that everybody's been wanting to do for a long time, and Cliff's been fighting for it, and it's awesome. And Cliff was right. It's awesome.
I mean, you've got some serious polish issues, and you guys know that, but I think it's showable, which is, I mean, it's 100% more playable than it was yesterday.
My attitude going into E3 is one of a bride who's being very mature and sane about the situation. I'm excited, I'm nervous as hell, and it's going to be awesome. Chantel and I are back together. We were apart for a couple weeks there. She caught a separate flight to the hotel that I'm staying at, and you know, when she showed up yesterday, it was like my blood pressure just went right down, back to normal. 14 years building up to this moment since I started. My name is Cliff Blazinski. The game is Gears of War. Let's check it out.
Oh.
Chainsaw YouTube.
Delta, this is 6-1. There's something moving below ground. Over. I see it too, 6-1. What are we looking at?
Epic delivered, Epic over-delivered. They did a great job for E3, and I think that creative difference, that conflict, is the way you get a better game. I love chainsawing people.
I'm really happy with what we brought to the show. The demo that Cliff did, I think we definitely got across what we wanted to get across.
You know, I made some pretty harsh remarks about the state of the AI, and in general, I felt like Epic needed to be pushed a bit, and I think the way it's showing right now at the show could not be more proud of those guys at Epic. Not only is it visually amazing, but it plays well.
Hey, good job.
How are you, man?
When you do those live demos, I guess you really gotta stay with the aliens or you'll look bad.
Did you hear the sound and everything?
Oh yeah,
It's just
fantastic.
like boom. It's like pop. It's got to pop.
I love that chainsaw.
I had to fight for that. I had to fight for it, man. But it's like it's a chocolate and a peanut butter for me, right? It's like it's a gun with a chainsaw, right? So it works out really well. So
how's it look for shipping this fall?
Oh,
we'll make it happen.
Fantastic. We're counting on you.
Have a great show. It's great that everybody loved the demo, but now we have to ship the product. We got to get it done. We got to nail it.
Oh, man. Ooh. Now she loves it. Laugh out loud. I'm so tired of those types, man. I really am. They get on my damn nerves. I think they got on a lot of people's nerves as well. I think they get on their own nerves, to be honest. But hey, y'all, thanks for hanging out with me tonight, especially talk about some Gears of War and preparation for Gears of War E-Day. I don't know if I would be getting Gears of War E-Day. Like, if the price is right, I might get it. But, you know, with the whole Microsoft pushing up the game prices and all that, I'm just like, I don't know. I'm not going to be paying $80 plus tax just for one freaking game, you know. So I can't wait to actually see more of the lore of Gears, especially when it pertains to Marcus Phoenix and Dominic Santiago. I just know that if it's good, if it's actually like it gets back to its roots of the horror and everything, that might really appeal to the side of Gears of War 1 for me. Don't get me wrong, and I know that some of y'all weren't here from the beginning, but in the beginning I was talking about, oh, thanks for the wonderful night, brother. Hey, no problem, man. Thanks for being here. But in the beginning I was talking about why I love Gears of War 1 much more than Gears of War 2, 3, and onwards is because, and I don't get me wrong, I love Gears of War 2 and 3 and a little bit of Judgment and a tiny bit of 4. But Gears of War, the first Gears of War, dude, that grittiness, that shaky, almost camera-like angle that like makes you really feel like you're there with them, and in the horror aspect of it, man, it's like, wow, that was actually a freaking like great combination right there. So good, dude. This is what made Gears of War a legend in the gaming industry, video games in general. What we just watched there was proof of what worked. And you see these guys been hustling, bustling. They've been working on stuff like this since they were like 9 years old, and 14 hours a day, compared to what we have now, what we see now with, hang on, I want to see something, y'all. I want to see the new, what are they called? What's this new studio called for Gears of War? Well, they're not really exactly a new studio, but damn, we're the Coalition, right? The Coalition. Hold on, I want to see what the Coalition looks like. Because I don't want to be demeaning people and all that. Is this them? Oh, that's Gears 4. Never mind. No, that's not even up to date. I want something like this up to date. I want to see. Okay, so we got this right here. All right. Here we go. Sharing now, y'all. So you see stuff like this, and it's, these are the people. I think this is people. I can't read this, but I believe this is the people right here, that made Gears 5, and it's just like, I don't know. It's just like it looks like, at least if not all of them, been through the college process, and it just maybe the game mechanics weren't bad. The gaming was actually good. It was just the storyline. The storyline is what suffered. I wonder who was this, and does anyone know who the actual writer for Gears 5 was? Because that'd be real interesting to see. Nah, you know what? It don't matter. I'm a little bit tired anyway. But what I'm trying to say or trying to convey is that it just they lack that attitude that the guys from the past had, and I think honestly I believe this might be Gears of War's last chance here. If E-Day fails, Gears will never be the same. They had, they were testing new wars with 4, and then they tripped and drowned in 5. And now we're just like, okay, make or break time. And honestly, that same amount of pressure that Microsoft was putting on the guys back in Gears of War 1, they need to be putting their boot up their behinds for Gears E-Day. They need to. So I think that's all I have to say for this, and I'll see you guys next time. Ciao.